Hi, my name is Bonnie Brzozowski, and I'm a reference librarian at the Corvallis-Benton County Public Library. I've been recording this series of videos for you regarding misinformation online, specifically COVID-19 misinformation. And hopefully I've maybe given you some strategies and tips that can work for you when you're trying to determine the accuracy of content you're seeing online and potentially debunk misinformation online. Today I wanted to talk to you about Twitter. Just a little bit about the way that Twitter works and the way that Twitter can sometimes be used to manipulate or even fabricate things. So let's take a look together. So something that comes up frequently are Twitter screenshots. I've got an example there that you might already be a little bit suspicious of. There are legitimate reasons to use just a screenshot of a tweet, and there are also illegitimate reasons as well. Many times Twitter users will screenshot a tweet rather than retweet it because they fear that that tweet might be deleted. So they want to preserve it and make sure that they catch a picture of it because people do delete tweets frequently. Other times people might screenshot a tweet because they wish to discuss that tweet without attracting the ire of a particular group of followers. So they're kind of trying to talk about it maybe a little under the radar. Other ways that people use it that are not so great, sometimes people will retweet screenshots as a way of breaking a chain of credit so that people will be forced to retweet them and not the original person who tweeted. So it's frowned upon, but sometimes people do that. And then, of course, like my example here, sometimes people are actually just using tweet generators to completely fabricate tweets and mislead. So how do you find out if a tweet is actually real? You can check to see if the tweet exists on Twitter first. If you can find out their handle on Twitter, you can always do a Google search for it. This is if you're not a Twitter user. If you're a Twitter user, you can just log in and search for someone by their handle as well. And then you could go and see, are you seeing that tweet on their page around that date? It can be a little bit more difficult to search an individual's tweets, but you can also search all tweets. And so if there's something particularly that'll stand out about the tweet, the keywords in the tweet, then potentially you could search it. But what do you do when they've actually deleted the tweet? Well, there is a project that's dedicated to keeping a database of deleted tweets that politicians have deleted. So that's Politwoops here on the screen. And then there's also the Trump Twitter archive, which includes all of Trump's deleted tweets, as well as his current ones, speeches, and other things that Trump has said during his presidency, all searchable in one place as well. However, if you're not a politician, I'm not aware of another place that's really archiving deleted tweets, so a lot of times those do just get lost and you can't necessarily verify whether or not it's accurate. So that can make, it can just mean that you need to maybe be a little bit more skeptical of a Twitter screenshot if you really can't verify it in any way. There's also Twitter identity. So people can become verified on Twitter. You can verify your identity. This is only available to public figures, to people like politicians, musicians, artists, TV personalities, things like that, actors, actresses. So not everyone is going to be verified, but sometimes it's useful to pay attention to whether or not an account is verified. And then sometimes people will try to manipulate that and make it appear that they're verified. And then some people just are not verified at all, and it's good to notice that. So the example is on this page on the left side of your screen, Jason Shavitz here. So verified, when it's verified, you'll see this blue circle with the white check mark. And if I was actually on that page right now and I hovered my mouse over it, it would say verified. So he had a verified account because he's a congressman. I don't think he's a congressman any longer, but he's a TV personality of some kind, I believe. So this is definitely a verified account. This is where you would expect to see that check mark. This is right. This one has an X on it here because the verification check mark is in the wrong place. So this is back behind in the cover photo. It's not near, so the actual, there's a cover photo here and then a smaller profile picture that would be maybe somewhere right around here that we're not seeing. So this is a cover photo where I'm not sure who this person is, but they included they actually put that little check mark in their cover photo. So they're just trying to make it appear that they're verified. But another way that you could tell too is, so this is a verified account for Percy Jackson. Percy Jackson being a fictional character from a book. So definitely not an account that Twitter would bother to verify. They're not verifying the accounts of fictional characters, right? But something to pay attention to. Another clue would be if I had rolled my mouse over it, it wouldn't say verified. This is an example of someone who's not trying to say that they're verified in any way, but they are claiming to be a congressman in California, Jack Kimball. But looking a little further into this, there is no 54th district in California, so this is not actually a real person. I believe that link had some odd content on it. So this was not an actual person. I'm not sure if this was a bot or what was going on, but they were only around for a short time and pushing right-wing content on this particular Twitter account. So just something to look out for. No verification here. Yet a congressman, if they are a congressman, they're going to get their Twitter account verified. That's going to be important to them. So that should be kind of a red flag right there. Something else that's really important to pay attention to is that there are a lot of bots out there on social media accounts, and Twitter in particular has many of them. Twitter has, actually, according to a March 2017 article, as many as 48 million Twitter accounts were likely to be bots, a study had found. So if you're not familiar, a bot is an account that's run by a piece of software. You can kind of think of it as like an airplane being flown on autopilot, and also think about, just as autopilot can be turned on and off, accounts can behave like bots and like human users at different times. So sometimes it might be being bot-like, and sometimes a human might actually be powering it, and it might be a mix of both, and so that can kind of throw people off sometimes. Bots are also often linked to one another, so their accounts are linked to one another so they can more easily amplify and attack messages. And those networks of bots can number in the half a million sometimes. So there are ways, though, or just a few things that you can kind of look at and to try to get a quick sense of, is this a bot or is this an actual legit person powering this account at all times? There is a tool, before we get there, actually, there's a tool called Botometer that can help you try to spot them, and I'll make sure to provide that link, or I'll make sure that link gets provided with this video, so you could try Botometer and see how that goes. But there has been some thought that Botometer is not always accurate, so you might also just take a look yourself and see what you can deduce. And so the things that you're going to want to focus on when you're doing that are activity, anonymity, and amplification. So activity, how many tweets per day? So you're actually going to kind of have to do the math on that. You're going to want to look at how many tweets total. So the thing that it's going to tell you at the top of anyone's Twitter page is how many total tweets that they've had, and then the date that they joined. So with a calculator, you can pretty quickly figure out, like, oh, okay, well, that's approximately this number of tweets a day. Numbers that are going to look suspicious, I mean, sometimes around 50 can look suspicious. However, there really are some people that can tweet that frequently a day. So some say what you're looking for is more like 72 tweets a day would be very suspicious, and then over 144 tweets a day is going to be highly suspicious. Anonymity, when you're assessing that, usually they won't provide as much personal information via tweets or otherwise. They're more likely to use either no account picture or a very generic account picture, like just a picture of a landscape or a building or something like that. So pay attention to that. Amplification. So like I said, these bot networks form, and those are actually called botnets. And what will happen is they tend to just retweet what other bots are saying. They'll also do word-for-word quotes of news headlines and no original posts. Those are bots in general, but the botnets will do a lot of retweeting of one another. So pay attention to that. Are they really posting much original content of any kind? That'll be a red flag right there. Other things that you can watch out for, run a reverse image search on their avatar. I cover reverse image searches in episode 4 if you're not familiar with that. But see if that avatar or that account picture is used, or avatar is used on other accounts, or perhaps sometimes you'll find that it's actually a model or actress's picture, but you're not looking at that model or actress's account. So pay attention to that. It's frequently women's pictures that they'll use this way. It's often a very beautiful woman. You'll see frequently on a bot, or not always, but on some bots' accounts, you'll see posts in like 5 to 6 different languages, and so it's just kind of questionable that someone speaks that many languages and then spends that much time on Twitter. So just, kind of ask yourself, does this really seem like someone who knows how to speak 5 to 6 languages and can post in Arabic as well as German and all of these different languages? It seems a little odd. But if you want to read more about how to spot bots, there's lots of little things that you can look for. Check out this article that's here pictured on my slide, Bot Spot 12 Ways to Spot a Bot. Take a look at that. So hopefully this was helpful to you, especially if you're not really much of a user of Twitter, but maybe even if you are, that was useful. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll be back with more. Take care of yourselves.